Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to the Pulpwood Queen channel. I'm Tracy Carnes, Cassie's co-host for the evening, and just reminding everybody who hasn't, please, if you haven't done so, subscribe. And that way you won't miss a minute of any lively discussion, all the videos, and anything that the Pulpwood Queen posts, because you just don't want to miss a minute of it. And so now, without further ado, here she is, your host, the Pulpwood Queen herself, Kathy L. Murphy. Hello.
Jingle bells. I've been getting ready for Christmas, but the film we're watching tonight, Tracy and I were discussing films, and she said, "Have you seen The Matador?" I said, "No." "Is it about a matador?" And she goes, "Well, not really." So anyway, I watched this film, and it stars Pierce Brosnan and Greg Kinnear and Hope Davis. And this film was filmed in 2005, and it was mostly filmed in Mexico, right? Is that correct?
It was filmed mostly in Mexico City. Even the parts of Denver and everything was filmed primarily in Mexico City, which I just found fascinating. And that was something that I saw this film I saw the premiere of this film. I actually went to the premiere of it at Sundance, where it played. And I had heard about it beforehand, and it was one of the hardest tickets to get there. And I had been going to the box office trying to get tickets, and I wasn't I wasn't going to be able to go. And somebody heard me talking about wanting a ticket to it, and I don't know if maybe it was one of the producers of the movie or what, but somebody that was a big wig handed me a ticket. And I said, "Let me pay you the $10 for it." And they're like, "No, I got it. I got it."
Cool.
And
Well, I have to say
this
this.
myself without my Sundance crew, and it was bar none. And I saw almost maybe close to 30 films that year, and it was bar none.
Did it win anything at the Sundance?
It didn't win, and I don't know that it was in competition, but it was one of those films that opens Sundance.
Do they have an Audience Choice Award at Sundance?
Oh, he's gotten into something.
Okay.
He knew that there were treats in this bag. I just came down, and he is now trying to open the bag that is closed. So give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
Well, I have a little cat that is running around underneath my couch, and I don't know what it's like after something. You'd think I'd had a mouse or something here in my cabin, but
there you go. He was getting into it because he knew that's where the treats were.
Well,
so,
you
anyway,
gotta know.
This film was just amazing, and it was just different from anything I had ever seen.
Well, I have been a Greg Kinnear fan for years, because everything he's in, from Nurse Betty to Same Kind of Different as Me, and what was the one with Jack Nicholson where he got beat up? He's just, every role he plays, he champions, and he champions the regular guy in this role, the married man who's got a happy family. He's just perfect for this role. But Pierce Brosnan played a character I'd never seen before. And I actually always, he's to me kind of like Rob Lowe. When they do the quirky films, I love it. But when they, the mainstream films and everything, James Bond, all those are great. But when I became a Pierce Brosnan fan was when he was in the Mamma Mia 2, because he plays, one of the first one, he played, well, both of them. He plays the love interest of Meryl Streep, and he has to sing. Pierce Brosnan cannot sing, but there's nothing more endearing to me than somebody who cannot sing, who sings as if they own it. And he owned that song. I laughed so hard at that film. It's my favorite part in the film when he sings to her in the church. And I have never seen anything quite like. It makes me wonder what he's like really in real life, because he this is a very different role. And you want to, what was the audience reaction to him at Sundance to this film? Because this is
Oh,
very
he got
different.
a standing ovation for it.
Right.
Everybody stood up. And you hear about, oh, this movie, like Brendan Fraser in The Whale.
I
Oh,
want to see
he got
it.
a six, he got, and I want to see that really desperately. Everybody gets, standing ovation or whatever. This film got the ovation, and not every Sundance film gets it. And this ranked up there to me with like Little Miss Sunshine, which was different. It was
I think about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was so different and had a
oh, it's
dark
very different.
twist. Because this film has a really dark twist. Because tell everybody what Pierce Brosnan is in this film. I mean,
He plays a hitman.
he plays a hitman.
He plays
and
a hitman that's going through some anxiety issues.
right. And it reminded me of, did you get to meet the author Robert Hicks?
No, I never did, and
Well, Robert has gotten to hang out with a lot of different people, and there's a group of people, they all go on this birthday trip, and they usually go to a foreign country. And he met a real life hitman, and he used to tell me stories about this guy, and I was just like, that's what he does for a living. He goes, yes. And I go, people really do that. So the whole time I'm watching this film, I'm thinking about Robert Hicks' friend that he befriended on this. I don't know where they were, if they were in Italy or Greece or on an island in the Mediterranean. I don't know. But he met this guy, and this guy came every year. Because you can imagine, if you're a hitman, you probably wouldn't have a whole lot of friends. You would, but he did hang out with this group. So I found the wonderful thing about books and films is when they tell a story that has not been told before from a perspective that you've not heard. And this is a hitman who becomes friends with this regular Joe who's a salesman, and he's down pitching his company in Mexico, and he's got the wife at home, and he tells the hitman all about his wife. And
every man, and he tells the hitman about his wife, what happened to their kid. And he has the every man has a story of woe. Like most people have some sort of story of woe, and he does. He's just an average Joe. He and his wife are just average middle class, trying to kind of move up a little bit. He's got a good idea. He's a good businessman, and it's not quite going the way he
had planned it. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And when we were kids, we watched these films, and it was very clear who was the good guy and who was the bad guy. And this is a show where it makes you understand there's layers of good and layers of bad. And sometimes they can be both. And you just think, how does somebody get into that kind of business? One of the guys that went with us on a trip to Italy was a special agent abroad, and he would tell me these stories about what he'd do. And he was a spy. I was just like, my goodness, I just think it's fascinating how, you read about this stuff in books, but you really don't think that there are really people that do this, but there are.
My ex-husband was part Sicilian. And so his grandmother was full-blooded Sicilian, and this man used to take his grandmother, like to the doctor's appointments, because they didn't drive, they didn't have a car. They lived in Chicago, in the Italian area of Chicago, in the Sicilian area. Everybody spoke Italian in this neighborhood. It's south side, is south Chicago, south side of Chicago. And this man would take that I guess maybe he was somehow related to my ex-husband's grandmother.
Oh my.
he had a radius because he had an ankle bracelet, and he was a hitman.
Oh my gosh. Well, see, I'm
So,
learning all this stuff, but as for people that have not seen this, this is a film that is, first of all, very intriguing. It's funny, but it also has this dark.
dark. There's parts of it that all of a sudden you just it goes from this
You kind of got, yeah,
the bright
chills.
colors of like the the bullfighting ring and the bright colors of Mexico, and suddenly it does it kind of it does kind of have a color motif a little to it, to where the dark areas of it when they're when they're when he goes, show me what it is to be a hitman.
Oh my gosh, I was like on the edge of my seat watching it because he thought he was joking.
Yeah.
He didn't really think he was, and then he found out he wasn't joking.
Yeah,
And then he became fascinated with it because I think if you're intrinsically good, there's always a little bit of a fascination with somebody who's a little bit on, not a little bit, but just on the other side of the spectrum. But I think everybody, if you watch it, it would be a perfect, I don't know, was it based on a book or just a screenplay?
What it was basically the writer wanted Richard Shepard was the writer, and basically he wanted to write I think he actually wanted to write a film for Pierce Brosnan. He wanted to kind of get
Oh,
and so he wrote this as a spec script, not thinking that it would get produced, but that it would get him to a job, like writing, Pierce Brosnan has a production company. So he was kind of hoping that maybe he would get something to him, not thinking that Pierce Brosnan would be interested in playing this
or star in it, you know.
and
That's amazing actors in
it
it.
almost didn't get it almost didn't even get to him, but then it did. And then Pierce Brosnan like, I want to play this guy. He wanted
And
to play of the James Bond character that he had been kind of typecast into. Remington Steele got him to Bond, because Remington Steele was kind of what everybody kind of romanticized as that's kind of James Bondy.
kind of remind me of Rob Lowe, because Rob Lowe was always the pretty boy in all those.
He's always the pretty boy.
But I loved him in Hotel New Hampshire. Oh my gosh, that was such a great film with all the crazy happenings in the bear and everything. I love all of John Irving's books, but it was interesting to me. It was
when
the way they covered Mexico was that I've only been to
Pierce
Mexico once.
walking through the lobby of the hotel in a Speedo and cowboy boots.
That was another thing. Not only did he have to act at a character that was so different from him, he did a lot of this with nothing on, and it was that's brave in my opinion. I mean,
thought it was the bravest movie, for him to come out of that James Bond, the early 2000s James Bond era that he was in, to come out of that and be that character. He wanted to show the world that he was more than that.
Well, I think every actor gets to a point, they don't want to be typecast. They want to play, you see a lot of different actors play roles where, like Tootsie, where they dress up, or.
Well, I mean, take this new one that Brendan Fraser's done.
I have got to see it. I just heard the film was not that great, but
I think it's phenomenal. He got a 6-minute standing ovation at, was it Venice?
I don't know. I just read about it today, but they said for somebody who played in a role, the person who was reviewing it said the movie wasn't that good, but I have to see it for myself because I never go by
what. When a critic says that, it's usually really good. and he's a 600-pound man, and he's just playing a role that Brendan Fraser is not known for. Brendan Fraser played those pretty boy, then he played like the Indiana Jones hero and on the
Blast from the Past and the Mummy, and then
I
you
love
know,
Blast
Blast from the Past is one of my favorite films ever, with Sissy Spacek and him and Christopher Walken. I mean, that is a classic go-to film if you want to
But
just.
I thought it was really brave of Brendan Fraser to play that
Did
role.
they make him heavier?
He
Because
played
I saw a picture of his face, and I knew he put on weight, but I knew he never got that big. I figured they must have done, but the makeup was incredible.
They did. And so I thought it was really brave of him to approach that role. So, it was very brave of Pierce Brosnan to do this particular role at the time, because it is so different. It pulled him out of being typecast.
Absolutely. But at the same time, Greg Kinnear's role could have been completely lost. But to me, they were the perfect match.
He's like, what?
The way they interacted together was,
and he played him so well, because he could have gotten lost. And I thought Hope Davis, played her part very well when he shows up at their house in Denver
in the middle of the night. And it's been years since he's seen him. And he goes, "Did your husband tell you about me?" "Oh, yes, I know everything." And I was so impressed with this man who told his wife everything, because a lot of guys probably would have never said anything to their wives about this friendship that happened, but he told her everything. And
I love that.
It was very refreshing. It was a wonderful role, and it had a very interesting plot twist. Whoever wrote it, the guy who wrote it, I think he did an excellent job. And I think more people should see these kinds of films. So that's the kind of, it's like books. I'm always looking for books that, may not get seen, but they should. And I'm really pleased during, this past month, I've been watching all the Pulp Queen books that have been made to film, and with my friend Margie Dilday, who's one of the Pulp Queens, and she goes, "Kathy, these films are all so different from each other, but I don't even like to watch movies, but these are incredible stories." And I go, that's why I think that if there's any film producers out there, that you really need to look at the books that I pick, because I see them visually. That's why we do the Book and Film Club. And I'm hoping that more and more of our books that I select will go on to film. And I know the film industry's been hit really hard by the COVID and all the things that they've had to do to film, but it's opening back up. I've only seen one film that's tentatively up for the Academy Award, and that's Elvis. And we've seen it, what, 3-4 times?
I actually watched it again last night.
Did you really? I've got to watch it again, because there's a big interview they're going to do on him that's supposed to air pretty soon on television. They were talking about it on Facebook, and I wanted to see it. But the amount of time that he took to get into that role, most people don't spend 2 years getting into a role, but he did such an excellent job. I really highly recommend everybody see the film. And then the music is getting all kinds of awards. But as far as that goes, I've only seen that film, and there's, I think there was 12 mentioned that I got to figure out where to watch them. So if you find out,
I know, I do too. Like, I want to see The Whale really desperately.
Have you heard of Criterion? Have you heard of Criterion or something like that? It's I just heard about it, and they said most of the films are going to be up on that. So I guess I got to figure out where that is and subscribe or whatever, because
I 1 year, it's been a few years ago, I subscribed to Movie Pass. Which was like Netflix for cinema. So you paid $8.95 and you got to see one movie a day. $8.95 a month, and you got to see one movie a day. So I
Were
subscribed
these
to that.
all the Academy Award
I
nominee
saw
movies?
every single, it was any movie at
Movie Pass still around? I've never heard of it.
it is, but I think it's got a different iteration of it. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but one year, because I had that, I saw probably 3 films a week, where I rarely go to the movie at all. I was seeing at least 3 films a week. Going to the Robinson, I went, I could go see a film for free, basically $8.95 a month. I'm basically seeing a film for free, because
If you find that out, tell me, because I'm
thought that was amazing. And I worked that. I got that $8.95 membership worth out of that. And I saw an inordinate amount of films. I saw every Oscar nominated film. I want to see Tar, and that stars Kate Blanchett. I want to see, there's one that's starring Olivia Colman.
Is that the one that's Jean something? Jean, 2 names, Jean Tigman. They said it's about a woman who has a son, and it just shows her cleaning her house. I think they said it has like a 30-minute segment on her peeling potatoes.
What?
The longest film. And today I read that it is considered one of the best films. It is beating Citizen Kane and an Alfred Hitchcock, Vertigo. And I'm going, what? I've got to see that one. I don't know what it is. That one, and the Whale, and then well, there's a lot I've got to see, but I've never even heard of them. There's something with another title with everything, one can or something. I feel like it's hard when you don't have movie theaters getting anything but animated films now. Right now, all the movie theaters are doing animated films.
That I want to see.
And I want to see films. Over in Kilgore, they have a film festival, and they show a lot of, like Sundance, they show a lot of films. And usually it's around the time of the Oscars. So I might be checking that out. But keep me posted if you find sources for any of these films, and if there's one we want to watch. I would love to do it.
Is the one that's got Oscar buzz.
Right? Which one?
Empire of Light, and it is a drama about the power of human connection during turbulent times, set in an English coastal town in the early 1980s, and it's written and directed by Sam Mendes.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
It's got Colin Firth and Olivia Colman in it, and so it's going to be
oh yeah, it's going to be good.
In it. Yeah, it's it's an indie, I'm sure, but to me it just looks really good. And Tar with Kate Blanchett, it was playing at the Robinson and I didn't get to see it.
Dang it. I love Kate Blanchett. I loved her so much in the movie on with not Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, where he played Howard Hughes. She played she was so good.
Really large mountain headed right toward us.
The last film I saw her in was with Bradley Cooper, and it was just too dark for me.
The best film I think she did was Blue Jasmine.
Okay.
Woody Allen movie. I mean, that was just brilliant acting. I mean, she's an actress that's very nuanced in her. She just becomes it.
Like that Tilda Swanson. Oh my gosh, she is amazing. I saw a photo of her with David Bowie, where they had dressed up like each other.
Yeah.
They looked exactly
like each other. And
it was
and this
wild.
is, getting back to the Matador, circling back to it, this is one that Pierce Brosnan kind of disappeared a little bit into that role. He didn't look like the Pierce Brosnan that we normally see. He's got his hair, he had his hair cut different, he acted different, he carried himself different. He
wasn't suave and debonair, he was edgy.
he was
And he's
edgy.
also kind of hip.
He was like, but you know how there's a fine line between edgy and sleazy.
Yes, but he didn't come off.
That fine line that he could have gone towards sleazy, but he
You
didn't.
know who else is like him is, you remember Something About Mary?
Yeah.
You know the guy, he had he was in The Outsiders.
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon is one of my favorite actors. He's like that. He
Yeah.
can play a real handsome guy, but he gets in that one role and he can play, he's riding that line between a little bit creepy.
It's and that's Pierce Brosnan's character's name's Julian. And Julian kind of walks that fine line, between, he's kind of cool and edgy, and then he does actually kind of cross over into, he's creepy sleazy a little bit.
I was worried a couple of times. I was afraid poor Greg Kinnear was going to get in over his head, but
And then
you've got to watch it, people. You've got to watch it. And I just read too that Ian McGregor is going to be playing a gentleman from Moscow. The Amor Towels book that I picked many years ago, it's coming out in film, and he's going to be perfect to play the gentleman from Moscow. So there's a lot of great things coming up. And Tom Hanks, oh, he's going to be a man called Ove, which that was another, oh my God, that'll be so good. I saw the trailer for it today and I thought, man, we've got some good films coming up. We're going to have a fun time watching these films, but I don't know what we're going to watch next month, but I would like to watch one of the Oscar films because.
But if we can't find an Oscar film, there is a film, if we can find it, that because I'm on the Sundance kick, and
Yeah.
I loved there's certain films at Sundance that I absolutely just like, oh my God, this is like, films at Sundance are even the ones that get picked up for distribution by like Miramax or Lionsgate or whatever. Sometimes they're films that wouldn't ordinarily, they're not studio films. They're not films that DreamWorks would put out or something like that. They're not those kind of films. Those films get so whittled down through notes and producers and everything that the story's good and it's a good movie, but it's predictable.
That's why I like Wes Anderson films and
that's why we like Wes Anderson films. That's why we like films like The Matador. And it's because these are indie films. Indie films usually, and it's the same with the Indian films. They just go one step further in the story that a DreamWorks film wouldn't, or a studio film would.
They oftentimes that you know what's going to happen. I like to watch a film where I don't know what's going to happen next, and that's what happened in The Matador. I was like, this is getting a little bit, voyeuristic. Where you're thinking, oh, what's he gonna do?
Well, and this is what happened. I mean, this is exactly what happened in the script that was written for you.
Yeah. I think that we're going to be having some.
It went into cliche.
Yeah, and that's so.
What I want to watch. It's not what I want to watch. There's a film that I absolutely loved at Sundance, and it was called The Upside of Anger. and it starred Kevin Costner as a retired baseball player, which he plays the baseball guy really well. And you think, oh my God, Kevin Costner's playing another baseball character. Oh, great.
Right.
It's different. It's different. It's like the Matador. He's playing different.
Well, Kevin Costner's been taking some of those risks too, because when he played the serial killer, this
is a Mike Binder film. And Mike Binder, he used to be a great stand-up comedian, and then he went into film, and he's a very good writer, and he's a very good stand-up, but he's a very good actor and writer. And he wrote this film, and he wrote it for Joan Allen.
Wow, I love her. The Ice Storm. Did you see the Ice Storm?
Yes.
Oh, that
love her. So she carries this movie, and she is this mother of these daughters, and her husband has left her, and she's bitter, very, very bitter. And
wait a minute,
Costner, it kind of starts wooing her.
I think I've seen this film. I didn't know the name of it. Is it still out there, you think? The Upside of what?
Bradley, hush. The Upside of Anger.
Okay, I'm gonna.
It's just a wonderful. I'm pulling it up now. Let's see. The Upside.
Watch it. It's maybe on. It's
about a year ago. Oh, here it is.
Oh, just a year ago?
Not a year ago. It was on Stars or something for a while. Let's see. Usually IMDb tells you where you can see it.
Okay. I saw that Ice Storm one time, and I can't get that movie out of my mind.
You can rent it on Prime Video for $2.99.
There you go.
But it's just it came out in 2000. I saw it in 2006. Okay. And it stars all the daughters are very well known in it. But Joan Allen, she's just a terrific. She's also one of those actresses that like Cate Blanchett, that's just so nuanced.
Or like the woman who played Mum. I mean, and the dresser.
Leslie Manville, she's very nuanced.
I love those. And, you know, I love, it's amazing. Everybody goes, well, there aren't any movie stars anymore. Yes, there are.
Yes, there are.
I mean, I think Jessica Chastain is a great actress.
I think she's not a movie star. She is an actor.
Yeah. I love everything that she does.
Joan Allen is just one of those people, and she just plays this bitter housewife, so very well off, bitter woman.
I think I saw that film, and I remember.
And it's got such a great twist to it.
Does she ride a bicycle in it?
One of the characters does, but just for a little bit.
Yeah, I just remember that. It's been a while back. I'll check it out because I'm running out of movies. I've been watching the Tim Burton Wednesday.
Mary Russell rides a bicycle for a little bit. She plays a ballerina, a dancer. And Erica Christensen's in it, and Evan Rachel Wood's in it. Alicia Witt is in it.
Oh wow! Okay.
I mean Mike Binder, he plays Shep. He basically plays Kevin Costner plays Denny Davies, a retired baseball player, Detroit, of course. And he's not sleazy. But he's
a player.
He's a little bit of a player. I mean, he smokes pot all the time and he drinks. He's a bit of an alcoholic. And Joan Allen's character, Terry, keeps calling him an alcoholic while she's gulping down the vodka. And he's getting high, and he's like, I'm going to talk about, watching The Invasion with my new friend Terry. And she's like, you are not going to talk about me on the radio. And he's like smoking a joint and goes, okay. And they talk about it. And while he's listening to Rebel yell in his Cadillac.
Wow.
I mean,
So
it's just so great. And it's so, these are people that you know in real life, that you just know them. And but they're not, they're not acting stereotypical, and they're not acting cliche. They're just people that you know, and you know that's what they do. But it's also one of those stories that, I hadn't seen, and I liked it. And they're few and far between. David Patterson's movie Love Ludlow was different. That did really well at Sundance. It was a different story that nobody had told.
well, Pierce Brosnan, where did this fall in his movie career? Where did this was done in 2005? What had he just done?
He was just coming out of was pretty much just coming out of the whole Bond thing, which meant that he was getting, he was getting stereotyped.
And then what did he do after this film?
Hold on one second, I'm telling you. He played in, he did some more interesting work after this. And I think, I think this film made him a better actor. But he's so pretty. I mean, he did, let's see, let's go down. Oh, he's done a lot. Let's see.
He's done a lot.
He has done
So is Greg Kinnear. He's done a lot.
a lot. I'm sitting here looking, scrolling. Okay, he did the Matador. I'm trying to see. Mamma Mia was 2008, believe it or not.
So 3 years later, wow.
I think the Matador pretty much, I don't think he would have been on Mamma Mia had he not done Matador.
Well, I think it's whoever cast him was very brave in picking somebody who couldn't sing a lick.
And then
I just love it when he sings.
and in
Because
2010 he did The Ghost Rider with Ewan McGregor.
yeah, I think Greg Kinnear probably did this around the same time he did Nurse Betty.
He did Nurse Betty in 99.
Oh, was it that far back?
That far back. I'm pretty good at kind of remember. I can pretty much name a movie. And
what about Moulin Rouge? Oh no, he wasn't in that. That was Ian McGregor. Okay, never mind.
Well, he did. Let me see. Let me scroll.
As Good as It Gets. Was that the name of that film with Jack Nicholson? But that was a long time ago too.
That was Hope Davis.
Yeah, but he did that film with Jack Nicholson. Greg Kinnear did too, with Helen Hunt. And she played.
Yeah, As Good as It Gets. Yeah, duh. Nurse Betty was 2000, 99, 2000. I knew it was close to that. And then he did Someone Like You, which was based off of, God, we know her. Based on the novel by Laura Zigman.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Animal Husbandry.
Don't remember that one. I'll have to go back and look. But everything I've seen him in, he just is excellent. He's such a likable guy.
He's a very likable guy, and but he plays that character so well. That he plays the everyman, is what his what he's been kind of a little typecast at. He plays the everyman, and I just thought the Matador was the perfect use. I mean, if you're going to typecast a guy as that was the perfect role for him.
It's really great. I hope everybody watching this will watch the Matador. It's on YouTube. We watched it on, what was it? We watched it on
Pluto.
Yeah, but it's now on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube.
It's just one of those movies, like I said, it's just different. It's not something you're going to go see at you know you're not going to go see it at Cinemark and go, it's just different. It's not an art house movie. It's not like that. It's not arty where you're going to come out going,
Kiss of the Spider Woman or something. Remember that when that movie came out?
it's not that kind of movie. But it is an edge of the seat. It's not thriller. It's comedy, but it's dark.
It's just a dark comedy. That's the only way I could.
It's just a dark comedy, but it's just, it's brilliant. It's just one of those movies that you call, it's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that?
I know. Well, we're going to have to come up with a new movie for next month. I'm kind of at a standstill.
Why? I've seen, how many movies I've seen. I've seen them all.
I've seen a lot, but I've been watching more series lately, and that's then you're getting into. But I can watch a series pretty fast. I've watched some pretty good ones lately, and
I have too. You and I both. But I really like. I just like a good movie. I just want to get lost in a movie. I don't want to think about my trouble. Like you don't want to think about the tornado damage to your house. I don't want to think about things. I don't want to, I just
it's escapism. It's just a form
that's
of
what a movie. That's what a movie is supposed to do. It's supposed to, when, that's what movies were supposed to do back in the day. Back in the 40s, films were made, there's a war going on in Europe, and it's pretty bad, and it's pretty bleak, and everybody's on rations.
And all the musicals, all the Ziegfeld Folly musicals and all that, and everybody was just like Shirley Temple movies and all the stuff where everybody was trying to keep, spirits up, and we need those kind of films now more than ever.
Some of these films that I'm seeing coming out, I say, oh, it's on Netflix now. Let me go look at it, and I go look at it, and I'm not 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, this is cool. And they spent $100 million.
I'm going to tell you, most of the American films right now, I've been very disappointed with. Now, I've been watching a lot of films in, of course, India, and now Mexico, and the show I'm watching right now goes to Colombia in Medellin, and it's called The Undiscovered Singer. It's really good. It's a series, and I'm not quite done with it. I really enjoyed it, but most of the movies I've seen, they're poorly Hallmarky Christmas,
because people are they realize that all these women, I was trying to explain to my date last night that he's like, does that turn you on? Does this turn you on? And I'm like, honey, women are not wired like men.
right?
We do not respond to porn or anything like that.
I love that. What was that? The Noel something. I love that show.
I said, I'm sorry, Hallmark movies are our porn. Carl in Love Actually.
Oh my gosh, that is the best. Love Actually.
That's our porn. So if you want to turn a woman on, you stand out in front of our door with cardboard poster, and you tell us a story, and you stand there and profess your love. That to us is porn. So we're just so wired differently.
It's just like there's a book that came out, and it showed a man ironing clothes for his woman.
Oh my God.
Or cooking, or
that's swim-worthy to me. If I see there's I've seen a couple of films where they're an elderly couple, and you see him doing things for his wife, and I go, oh my God, he really loves
Yeah.
Because he's taking the groceries out from the car. That turns me on. That
Yeah.
turns me on.
Somebody who's always carried in all her groceries. Yeah, that would be really nice.
No, but I mean, but he asked me, he goes, well, what does it for you? And I'm like, Carl from Love Actually. Yeah, be Carl.
Does it? So any ideas what we can watch for next month I think we should watch Academy Award, because are they doing it in April or February? When is the Academy Awards?
They've moved it around a lot.
Yeah.
It used to be that
April.
the nominations would come out on a Tuesday, the Tuesday while we're at Sundance. And so we would go get, they would have stacks of variety at certain venues, in lounges or whatever. So we would go get the variety to see what the nominations were, for the morning.
Well, you heard about RRR. You heard the story about that.
I told you.
I mean, we knew.
India did not put up RRR for best foreign film. They didn't. And there's been it's not, and I want to go, oh, Kathy's just obsessed with that movie. Nobody's no, everybody is talking about that film.
I know. We had
about it, the writing, about the injustice of it not being nominated, not being eligible for nomination, being put up, as that country's best film for Oscar, so that, it's blown that chance. And I think it would have blown anything out of the water just in that category alone.
I think the American public embraced that film when the ones that saw it, but we had nearly 6,000 people watch our discussion. It's the biggest watched show.
People are talking about that movie. People that don't watch Bollywood are talking about that movie. People that don't watch Bollywood are talking about that movie.
They need to watch. I watched one last night about a classical singer. I can't think of the name of it. Oh, it was very powerful, and it was so beautifully filmed. The cinematography, the music, about this girl who her mother groomed her to be this, is passed down, but her mother was cruel. It was unbelievably beautiful movie. It was sad, but it was so well done that I was just going, wow, I wonder if that'll be up for a film fair award.
That's what I enjoy. That's why I enjoy going to Sundance and seeing these films, because they are like what you say. Tell me a story I've never heard. Yeah. And a lot of these are stories you've never heard, and that you're not going to see at your local, Cinemark. Indian films kind of do that. They kind of tell me some of them tell me a story I've never seen before, and they go into a lot of in-depth to do it. And I think Hollywood just, I mean, let me put it into perspective. So I go into a pitch meeting with a producer. I'm pitching a TV series about rugby and the subculture that surrounds rugby. And the producer looks at me like, yeah, but I don't get rugby. Let's set it in the world of tennis.
That's just ridiculous.
Tennis. So,
tennis.
I mean, let's put it into perspective. Baseball fans do not fit into tennis. Not the same. They're not the same. The world of tennis is different than the world of baseball. And NFL is different from the people in baseball. Hockey fans are different from people in baseball or tennis. They're all
golf. I mean, come on. Every sport has a different.
Every sport has a different thing. So when you say that you want to change the sport, you've now changed the subculture dynamic of it. But
That's
this
a
is
shame.
what Hollywood does. So Hollywood takes your book, it has such a different story to it than what they're seeing in their head. So
You
they
don't even recognize it, you know?
stereotype you into something else that's not there. Radley, my dog is barking like crazy.
I
Radley,
can hear the dog bark. I can't hear it. So what we'll do is we'll come up with a film. I've got to come up with, you know, Shah Rukh Khan has 3 films coming up in 2023. We've got Pathan and we've got Donkey, and I think Dawn 3 are all coming out in.
I think I saw, did I see a preview of
Yeah, they've got them all up now. They're releasing songs and things, but
Yeah.
the first one is January 25th. But, you know, we do a movie once a month. So we're going to have to get really, you know, I've kind of going through. I mean, we've got a long way to go before we get through all of his movies. So, but I've got to pick one that we haven't done before that would be a great one to watch. And we had trouble with Josh because Josh was on a streaming service and then they took it down. It's on YouTube, but there's no English subtitles. So
It's a little bad, and the quality of it was not very good either.
well, that's the problem with a lot of the ones you watch on YouTube. The quality aren't as good as the best is actually, I think Netflix is even better than Amazon. Amazon, sometimes they don't have subtitles, and that just really drives me crazy because, you know, you want to know what's going on. So, but I will come up with something between now and then. So we'll get them up there. We've got till the end of December and the beginning of January.
For us is going to be extremely busy.
Yeah, I might probably we'll do the first Sunday in January, and you know, I don't know if we'll do the first Sunday in February because we'll be just coming back from Sundance and everything. I'll just have to play it by ear. But anyway, I'll be announcing those. I just updated. We've got Laura Whitfield, who's going to be with us all this week on our The Pulpit Queen presents her picks. She's our book of the month for Untethered, and she's got a fascinating story. She was just emailing me that she's really excited about book club. I've got the Zoom link up on the website, and I'll be updating the thing. And we've got to do the Writers Club, but I think we're going to have to wait until after January. I will start back out with the Writers Club in February because there's just too much with the holidays and everybody coming and going. And
the holidays are really honestly getting crazy. And even though we're kind of not really caught up in the holiday thing, but then we are because.
Well, if you want to see family when they're off, you've got to go when they can go. And so, yeah, so we'll probably start back up with all those things in February. And I've got the votes in for our books of the year. We'll be announcing those at our Pulpit Queen Awards, and I'm really excited about them. Everybody's thrilled that got selected. And then my 2023 list is done. So people sending me the books, they'll be read for 2024. Our books are already picked for 2023. But you got to get your books in, and the sooner the better, because once I come out of Sundance, I'll be back reading again. And when you start sending me the books towards the end of November, you know, I've got most of the books already picked because
you're to be honest, you're on burnout.
Well, you know,
because
1,500 books is really tough. Everybody goes, do you read them all? I read everything. I don't finish a lot of them. I read, like, if I really like it, I'll read the book. If I think it's going to be good, I'll read it, and then I'll read the middle and maybe the end, and then I'll think, I have piles of how I go through it. But so many of the books that I get are stories that we've already read. And so I'm looking for those stories that haven't been told. I have more men emailing me right now saying, are you a women's book club or a men's book club? I go, we're both. And
It
so,
excites me that men are reading.
well, I'm excited. I got 3 emails this week saying, can men come to your girlfriend weekend? I said, the reason why it's called girlfriend weekend is mostly women come, but it's really been changing since COVID. Men have started coming on board. In fact, my co-host is Casey Cowers. I've got all these guys coming that are going to be keynoting and speaking, and Jonathan Hote will be here from the Pat Conroy Center. So guys are welcome. We would love to get more guys participating, but it seems like to me the majority of readers in this country are women. Men read more technical business books, but there's people like Jamie Ford, who is an all-male book club, and I think that is the coolest thing ever. I want to know what they're reading all the time because I like to read everything. So hopefully we'll get something going with him now that they're back meeting together again, and he's still kind of wrapping up that wild tour that he's been on. But we're going to get real busy now, everybody. So if you have any questions, email me at thepulpwoodqueen@gmail.com now, because I'm going to be traveling to my family for Christmas. And once New Year's is over, I'm going to be traveling to Florida for Amelia Island for our book club festival. And then immediately after it's over, Tracy and I are both going to be traveling to the Sundance Film Festival. And I'm already talking to people for other festivals coming up throughout the year. So it's going to start getting busy again, which I'm so thankful for, because I'm ready to get out of the house. And
I got out of the house this weekend for the Christmas festival, in Chinkapin Parish.
Yeah, that's awesome, because
I went to the Christmas, festival. I got to see Miss Merry Christmas, and
it's a beautiful place to go.
I got to go to a private party, stand on a balcony and watch the fireworks and the lights, and got to see all that. It was great, to not have to be in the crowd or sitting in a car watching. That I actually got to experience the Natchitoches Christmas festival like a true, person, like a local. And
that is the best. If you can watch these parades from balconies, it's way better than being down on the ground. So good for you, Tracy.
I'm sorry, VIP doesn't suck.
No, it's really nice. So
I was at a law firm, and they had all of their employees and their employees' friends and their kids and everything. And
which reminds me, what happened to the Silver Screen Film Club? Have you heard anything about it?
No.
It just disappeared. We were members of it, and I was really excited about seeing what their next film was, and there wasn't one for November. So I doubt if there's going to be one for December. Maybe they'll wait and start up after the first of the year.
Maybe as one of my Sundance buddies would say, it folded up like a 1-egg pudding.
Yep. Okay. Well, everybody, please subscribe to the Pulpwood Queen channel. We are headed into our annual book club convention, which will be in Amelia Island, Florida, January 13th through the 15th. There are still some seats at the table. So get on the www.thepulpwoodqueens.com. Interestingly enough, I've got a lot of guys signing up right now. So sign up. The hotel reservation discount is there. The working program's up. I will not have the finished program till the event. So I have never been to a book festival where I've gotten the program ahead of time. I usually get it when I get there. So if you're wanting to know what the final program is, it's usually at the event. So we'll see you in Amelia Island. We'll see you this month for our Shah Rukh Khan and for our book and film club. And then we'll probably take a break until we get back from, in February. We'll probably, so catch up. Everybody have a wonderful holiday. Stay safe. COVID's back up again. People are getting the flu. There's lots of things going around, so be careful. If you're in doubt, wear a mask, get those shots, and we will see you next time. Tracy, thank you for joining me. Bye, Radley. Oh, I've got my little cat over here. Hi,
He does not want to be on the screen.
Radley.
He's
No, he
not
doesn't.
ready for prime time, apparently.
Well, we will check him out next time, and I will see you soon. So have a great evening, and we'll talk. Bye, everybody, and we'll see you at the movies. Okay? Bye-bye.